What's going on, everybody? You know, it is Ceremonial Witch. I'm actually in nature today for once. Yeah, I'm all golded out. I'm all fucking materialistic it up, you know, whatever. Fucking 3 chains on. All real too, by the way. The pendants aren't gold or anything like that. Like, the one pendant is silver. But, and the one chain is silver, and the other 2 are golds. But, and these are things I bought when I was doing things. My wife bought me the one, actually. My mom's bought me the pendant for the one, you know. It's not because I am a slave to the system or I think it's cool to wear 3 chains, although, you know, sometimes you have to enjoy the finer things in life. Sometimes you have to enjoy the little things, like what material wealth can give you, what, you know, just little things, little happiness. But it's not all about that, and that's very important to understand, that you're not going to have and keep and maintain happiness by pursuing material wealth, by pursuing, you know, buying chains and having money. You know, if you're chasing money just to chase money, not really going to do it for you, you know. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about this. I know a lot I want to talk about, but I'm at a baseball. I'm out of town. I'm somewhere near Kempful in Ottawa right now. It's beautiful here. Ball diamonds. Little outdoor park fitness fucking race little thing you can do here with my girls and my oldest son. And we're having a good time. But a few days ago wasn't such a good time. And I found myself in so much hatred and malice and wanting to cause harm to another human being, to the point where I've cursed the motherfucker. I hexed him. I decided to whip out the fucking shits that I learned, that I kept in my spell book that I never used before. And, you know, I'm gonna go through why I did it and, you know, why it's right and why it's wrong all at the same time. And, you know, you're supposed to leave the world a better place, and you're supposed to leave the world the way you want the world to be. And you could say that that was wrong for me to do that and curse somebody because, you know, I'm saying everybody should love each other and blah, 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 blah. But in the same sense, if someone fucks you over, are we supposed to just take it? If someone's trying to do something to harm you, are they supposed to be able to get away with that and have no repercussions? And, you know, that person wasn't successful at what they were trying to do, and I just let it go and say it's okay? Or am I the one in charge of dishing out that karma for that guy? And I know a lot of people think, well, that's just a way to justify revenge. That's just a way to but it's not. Because I've had things done to me and my wife, and I have just let it go, not cared. You know, I was able to not do anything. But then there's another side of the coin. Whenever there's something that's telling you you need to do what's right, there's sometimes whenever you do divination, and then even the cards tell you that this is your time, you have to explore what's going on right now. There's a reason you got so mad. What's up? All right, let me get some fucking shades on here. Oh, the gold ones are better, I think, for this. But anyways, what's going on, everybody? Corey the Law, Ceremonial Witch, biker wannabe. I'm just kidding, I ain't no biker. It's so fucking hot. This is for sweat. Or it's actually for, who was it? They said we used to fucking put acid in there, put on his head and cut his fucking forehead so the acid got in there fucking faster. I don't know if that's true or not, but I used to remember hearing that as a kid. But anyways, what's going on, everybody? So I started a video Saturday, whenever I was at Friday, when I was at my son's practice, saying that I cursed, I hexed a motherfucker for the first time. For the first fucking time. Sorry, I just woke up. And I wanted to go through all the reasons why that may be good and why that might be bad, and what people think about cursing from the left hand point of view, from the right hand point of view, from, you know, every point of view. Let's just go over it and see, you know, what I come up with. Because in all honesty, I did it from a very polarized state. Very angry, upset, wanting to kill a motherfucker, because I know. Now, did I want to kill him at the time? Probably. But I know, I've learned, and I've read multiple times so that it would sink in that you don't curse somebody unless you are okay with that person being dead. And even more than that, if you're okay being the reason why that person dies. So, does me cursing somebody mean I'm killing them? Well, yes and no. If you believe in magic, then I have to go with yes. I have to say yeah, because you're the one influencing that person's, whether you want to say it's planetary energies, chakras, systems, whatever, spirits, elements, everything that we try to wield and control, or at least have an effect on to bring us, whether it's money, abundance, wealth, health, or in this case, harm to somebody. You have affected that part, those atoms of that person. See, I made a video a while ago about how to consecrate, well, a mask, but for me, I consecrated this bandana. See, that's why it's on me right now. I consecrated this bandana to protect me from all harmful things, viruses, illness, sickness, disease, all these things, right? I just threw a curse out there to a guy that I wanted to harm. And the difference that I did, now I went in and I looked at all the, I don't know what I said in my last video. I think I said I used some of the stuff that I had in my book of shadows, and I do have curses and different things that I've written down from different people that, you know, because you look at people online who are talking about curses, and then you read these books and you can tell where they got their curses from. So when you see something come up often, to me that's an assumption that that thing is probably going to work pretty good, because that means there's a lot of people putting their mind, their energy, their focus, their power, their attention into a said thing, said curse. So that curse is probably going to work well. So that's what I written down. But I didn't do anything similar to that. So what I did, I'm not going to say what I did because I don't want to tell people what I did in case it didn't work or whatever the case is. And that's part of the reason why I'm making this video probably. You know, I haven't released it yet because I don't know if I want the curse to go through or not, you know. Anyways, not really. I want it to go through. I wish the motherfucker dead. And that's unbalanced and depolarized and whatever the case is. But his existence right now is a shitty one. His only job is to try to attract married women to him and break them up and then not even stay with them, you know? So that's a pretty low fucking existence. So, you know, he's pretty much a waste of fucking space. And, you know, this is just me also venting at the same time, so understand that. I'm trying to be as depolarized as possible. But, so anyways, in a nutshell, this scenario, this situation was, I'm in the bath. Alright, so you can probably tell I feel some type of way about talking about this, because I really don't want to make people think that it's okay to curse, and I don't want people to think that I'm okay with people cursing. I mean, I don't want people cursing other people unless it's needed. And was mine needed? No, it wasn't. I was insecure, and you know, my wife, I guess it got so bad that I wasn't talking with her, and I was getting upset at the drop of a hat at times. And you know, every time she would try to talk to me, I guess I wasn't there to listen, and I wasn't here mentally most of the time. I was either recording or editing or doing something other, you know. So she felt lost and alone. And the one time she went to a friend's house where my daughter was playing, it's actually our babysitter. This guy was there having drinks with her husband because I guess they work together, and I guess she was complaining with Megan, which is the babysitter, because they're friends. And I guess he crept up and said, "Oh, I'm sorry that's going on. I'm sorry your man's like that, whatever." And then eventually, you know, I slipped in there. I would never ignore you. I would never do that. I guess they used to work together 10 years ago when me and her first started dating, because we've been together almost 12 years now. And I guess, you know, one of his buddies thought my wife was still pregnant after she had a kid, and I guess that's how I started being friends. So this guy lives at with his dad. He's got custody out of one kid out of 4 kids, and his excuse is the reason why he's got custody of that kid is because the mother is a stripper or a prostitute in Toronto. So it tells me, I mean, this is just me, and I could be wrong, but that tells me basically he can't have custody of his other kids because the mother is way better of a person than he is. The reason he's only got custody of this kid is because he's a dirtbag, and the mother is actually worse than him, so that makes her a pretty big dirtbag, you know. But the one thing I'll give him is he holds down a job. He's got a pretty decent job, but he doesn't drive, he doesn't have a car. And you know, the one day where things got bad between my wife, where she actually contemplated going to meet up with him, because they never, I guess he was around here the one day, maybe at his buddy's house where my wife met him the one time. I guess he saw my wife going to the park, so then he went there and he hung out with my kids, which kind of bugs me now even still to think about it. And you know, things got really bad the one day, so she messaged him saying, well, are you serious about wanting to hang out? She's like, I can't cheat on my, and she showed me the messages. I can never cheat on my husband, and I can never leave my husband. It's too complicated, but I'm willing to, you know, get to know you, talk to you, and see if maybe me and Corey are through, and you know, maybe I am looking for something new or whatever, which broke my heart to see. But you know, that's what I mean, how perfect my fucking wife is. Like, she wouldn't even cheat on me, even though there's been rumor after rumor of me doing it to her, girl after girl saying I've done that to her. You know, she still has so much respect and upholds her marriage vows that, you know, and you can take this and spin whatever way you want. Yeah, she was messaging a guy behind my back, but that's what she said, you know what I mean? She showed me them. You know how hard that was for her to show me those? She was so worried about breaking my heart, and, you know, it did, but we got through it. And I mean, our relationship has never been better. Like, right now, it's so amazing. But how do you get to this amazing point? Well, yeah, the pendulum had to swing the opposite direction. It had to get bad for it to get good. The point of learning the Hermetic principles is so that you understand them, so that you could actively use them to your benefit. And that's what I've been trying to do magically, and I guess I forgot to do it with my wife and all that. And it's just terrible how shitty I made this go, for as great and as at manifesting things as I claim to be, and for as, you know, I'm not an adept, I never claimed to be that, but I claim to have some pretty unique gifts and all that, and being able to hear and see and think and feel spirit around me and all that. And then claim to have, well, I just manifested more time off, by the way. So if you were doubting me, well, don't doubt anymore, because I just got time off I needed again, plus a bunch of extra money. So if you're thinking that I'm a fraud, well, fuck you, first of all, and second of all, I just manifested more time off the drop of a fucking hat. So, and everything just worked out. Doctor just wrote the fucking note. Work just gave me a back pay balance for vacation pay, plus gave me a paper so I can get COVID money, plus gave me a paper to get EI. So I mean, everything is working absolutely great right now. Anyways, I gotta go get some little girl some lunch, but I'll be back. Alright, I'm fucking back. Let's see how long I can last this time. For a ride though. So I can fucking actually record before I keep going. The reason why I haven't been recording and putting up videos is because of what's going on. I've been simply focusing on my wife and mine's relationship, and, you know, getting us into a honeymoon phase. And, you know, obviously I used magic. First things I did was, now I never used magic to influence my wife before, any way, shape, or form. I had used it to help me and my wife. The only thing remotely I did close to that was to give my wife a abundant mindset rather than a poverty mindset. What was what I was going for. So that I had done in the past. So I guess that's kind of affecting her a bit. But this time was, and I'll talk about some sex spells or magic. Not really a spell. It's still spell casting in my opinion, because you're writing a spell on a fucking candle. But I'm not gonna say it depends on how long you've been training your mind and how long things take to manifest for you, because I have a pretty quick turnaround time, as it were, right now. So being that I have a quick turnaround time, I literally did candles right before we had sex and let it go completely, like, even though I was having sex. So I did a candle. I'll talk about that right now while it's fresh in my mind. I did a candle stating I want to I want to manifest the best sex my wife has ever had. Every time we have sex, every time my wife has sex with me, it's the best sex she ever had. All right? As my wife was faithful, she never did anything with this fucking dude. She kind of knew in the back of her mind, even though she liked the attention she was getting because she wasn't getting any from me. And this man was telling her how beautiful she was and that he wouldn't ignore her and that, you know, together they could have a wonderful life and whatever other game he was running, just being a piece of shit dirtbag. But all that game he was running was just bullshit. Because the one time she tried to make plans with him because she was that mad at me. He said, well, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons right now, or I'm supposed to. But after my game of Dungeons and Dragons, she didn't know what D&D was or whatever. And she thought maybe it was a computer game. He's like, no, like a group of guys are getting together, we're playing cards or whatever. I'm like, wow, okay. When she told me that, I just started laughing. I'm like, because I was very insecure for a while. Like, was this guy better looking than me? Is he more muscular? Does he make more money? Like, what was it? And technically, I think he makes more money an hour at his job than I do, but the kind of money I take in from all my other sources plus magic is I got to fucking beat hands down. But that's not really on record, right? My wife, she knows that we've been manifesting more money a month and she doesn't really understand how it's coming, and she kind of knows that it's through these various ways. But when she wants to be mad at me, it's very easy for her to just say like, okay, well, that's just bullshit, it's all coincidence and all that. But then when she's thinking rationally, she can actually be like, well, it's kind of a weird coincidence that every time he does this candle and shows me it, it ends up happening. Because for a while I wouldn't show her what I was doing because I didn't want her mind getting in the way. Now I'm not even worried about that, and her mind doesn't get in the way because she's kind of accepted it. But anyways, so I didn't even name any deities. I said all the goddesses of sex, pleasure, desire, orgasm, I forget all the sexual fucking names I could do. Passion, not of lust or of like reckless sex or like just wild sex with anybody. Like I was very clear on just naming passion, desire, you know, marriage, whatever, all these kind of different names. I made a candle specifically for that goddess, and I put Venus on it at the end, like her symbol, but for that goddess, for my wife to experience the best orgasms ever. And she had 4 fucking orgasms when we fucked that night. And I made a candle to the god, deity, entity of passion, lust, sexual desire, all that, to make my dick bigger than it ever was, to give her that pleasure. And it worked. It worked like a fucking champ. Like I've stated before, like I'm like 6, not quite a half, like 6 1/4, my dick size, okay? But I wanted it to be like, I think I said something like 9 inches. I wanted to feel for her for like 9 fucking inches. And I'm telling you right now, okay? I forgot about it, you know, she started sucking me and doing all those things. There's no way to fucking keep this consciously on your mind when that's happening. So then what ends up happening is I fucking start fucking her, and my dick is as deep as it can fucking possibly go. And she'd been riding and she couldn't even go all the way down on it while we were doing whatever. It was like 2 inches sticking out. Like I said, normally she can take the whole 6 inches. You know, sometimes it was like a little bit out. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Well, I am, because I'm illustrating the point that, and it's been like that. That was the second day. First day we had sex twice. And then the second day we had sex. Well, the second day I did that. Because the first day when we had sex, like I didn't even come once. I fucked her. She came. She couldn't keep going anymore, so I stopped. And then the second time we did it, I got to come that time. She also came as well. So there was no issues. But I want her to fucking feel like, you know, all I want is her. I want to just make her feel like, you know, she's a fucking goddess, you know. I want her to feel like I only want her, so I want her to be as hard as possible, so she knows I'm turned on. Because to girls, you know, if you're fucking hard as a rock, if you're like half hard fucking them, they think like, well, they don't turn you on anymore if you have a hard time getting it, you know. I didn't want that to happen. I want her to feel like I was as hard as I've ever been for her, that I want her. And man, and plus the 2 candles going, right, one to each goddess, like the god and the goddess of fucking sex and desire. I didn't even name them. And maybe it was just the symbolic representation in my head was enough to get that to work. And lo and behold, every time we had sex, like the next day, she's like, holy fuck, babe, I'm sore again. Like, holy fuck. But that was the best. Like, it's never been like that. Like, you felt like you were fucking harder and longer than ever. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, babe. It didn't grow, but you know, but I affected her mind. I affected the physical by just making a candle and not thinking about it. So how did I do the curse towards this guy? Same fucking way. So he had a fucking Instagram, and I got all his pictures up on the Instagram, and he had pictures of his kids on the Instagram, so I made it very clear to take those pictures off. And on top of saying those kids are free from harm and not being harmed or anything like that, I also put Archangel Michael, who is protection, Mars associations to Mars and all that. I put those sigils in the back of there, binded against to them. Basically this way, anything that comes to him, whether it's in his home or whatever, they will not get it. I made that very clear. And I know that when you shoot curses, they're likely, after they affect the person, either when that person releases it or when it's done with the person via maybe kill them or whatever, it's got to come back to source. Now, someone who doesn't know this, when it comes back to them, it can affect them, right? So the way I operated was I created a thought form. So it's not just baneful, maleficent energy going out there that's going to have to affect me after. I created a thought form. Servitor. I talk about thought form so much. Why wouldn't I do that? Why would I just throw intention out there to affect him and then affect me? So what I did was I created a thought form with a kill code, so that whenever the job's done, I fucking kill it. Now, I'm not going to know when the job's done because I don't want any ties to this fucking loser or anything. He's just a piece of shit in my mind. And, hopefully the one kid that, he's watching, because the one mom is even worse than him, well, maybe she'll get the kid and she'll have to change her ways. I don't know. It's not for me to decide. I threw it out there out of spite because he was trying to catch my wife. He's not a good fucking guy. And you can say what you want about that. You can say, well, you're not the one dealing out karma, the universe is, but there's no proof of that. You can say that all you want, that karma is this force that knows right from wrong, but I don't see evidence of that. I see what we make our own karma. We make our own evil. The only thing we don't control is sometimes tragedy, but even that can be because of people. Whenever tragedy occurs because of nature, the elements, well, that's a little different. But when tragedy occurs because of people, well, that's malevolence. Meaning, I caused this guy to die. Well, that's evil, right? That's an evil fucking spell. And that wasn't the kill code. I didn't do that. I mean, when I was very angry and I threw psychic energy at him just because I was thinking about it with emotion into it, that was all pure by mistake. And that might come back and bite me in the ass. So what was my thought form? Secondary job? It was to get rid of that shit before it comes back and gets me. I didn't cancel it for fucking hitting him because I don't give two fucks about how much dark energy goes his way. Doesn't bug me at all. This is what I mean. I've had issues with people before. I've had guys try to hit on my wife before and do shit like this before, and it's never bugged me in this way. And this time it has. And am I being insecure? Absolutely. Am I super insecure about this? Fuck yeah. I felt like a piece of shit. I felt lower than low. I felt like I wasn't good looking. I felt like I couldn't please her. Fuck. That's why I added magic to our sex life. That's why I did all these things. I was insecure as fuck. But I use a transformation sigil. Alright, I got the headset on now just so you can hear me better. It's got a good mic as long as it doesn't move too much. So I don't have to talk loud and raise my volume too much. But I'm not outside, kids are outside playing in the pool, wife's working over there. So anyways, so to go back to what I was talking about, the transformation sigil, my thought form, I created him, and he has the ability to, I'm not going to say what I made him do to this guy, but the reason why I use a thought form instead of just a curse is because, as much as I want this guy, and I don't care if he does die, he is, after all, taking care of a child, and, for that, there's not that many men doing that, so any man who is actually taking care of a child, I know I am a man, and I know how it is taking care of children, so I don't want that kid to go without. Now, if he dies, and that kid has to go to the other mother, and, well, then that is the divine will, that is the will of the gods, that's just what has to happen. To me, whether you think this bitch is all written in the stars, and whatever we're going to do is what we're going to play out, like whether you're meant to awaken right now this time or not, it's already been done, that's one way of looking at it, or we are choosing our path actively as we go, and we dish out our own karma, we receive our own karma. I truly believe that we we make and choose our own karma. By me doing this, I could be creating my own karma. By me sending him negative energy and then him going out and affecting other people negatively and all that, well, I could be creating my own negative energy, but I don't think so. And that's why I have a transformation sigil on stuff that on my pendants, on shit in my fucking pockets, at my doors, my windows, my house. And I gotta I gotta cleanse my house often, especially now more than ever. And that's why I also have thought form that was sent out to him too, because he's going to be around this dude, around the energy that I sent him psychically, however you want to look at it, mentally, on the mental plane, on the astral plane, wherever that energy went to, it's going to come back to me after it's done with him. Oh, and stop yelling! Sorry about that. My wife's trying to work and he's just yelling like an idiot. You can probably hear him in the background. He's doing a good job keeping the baby and the kids busy, so, you know, I want to take it easy on him. Anyways, my thought form is going to be around that energy. So, the point, I want my wife to feel love. I want this guy to feel hate. So, after my hatred and all that energy is just energy. You can change it into whatever you want. Therefore, I send him out hate. I get rid of my negative energy, how I'm feeling. I don't want to take it out on my wife because I don't think it was her fault. I am taking this on as it's my fault. I fucked up. I made her feel like I didn't want her, so I need her to feel the opposite. So I send this guy a hate energy. I'm giving her love energy. I want this to keep circulating. My thought form, his secondary job is to, all the maleficent energy I sent him prior to sending the thought form, he has to intercept that before it comes back to me and change it into love energy after it affects him. And from there, I can receive it and pass it on to my wife. And I'm telling you, every time I look at her, I give her a kiss, I'm giving her a hug, and I'm not even doing it on purpose. Like, I've done things in the past when say I did something wrong, and I felt guilty about doing something wrong. Well, then I'd kiss her, telling her how beautiful she is, buttering her up so that when she finds out, it's not so bad. Well, that's not how this is working for me right now. I'm not all pissed off. I'm not all angry. I didn't do something wrong. You know what I mean? It's just, it feels like it's what I've manifested. It's just circulating. It just keeps circulating back and forth. It's going to him, and it's coming back. And this is where the whole dark side shit comes in handy. Like, I know I'm capable of bad things. I know I'm capable of doing bad things. I've explored different ways of my dark side like that, and now I actually had the circumstance to see, like, well, what would you do if some guy was trying to fuck your wife behind your back? Well, whether you think I failed or I passed, it doesn't matter. I sent this motherfucker probably some cursed energy, not on purpose, but then I sent him the fucking thought form to fuck with him, to make sure he never does this to any other man who's married, okay? Now, maybe his job is to get the wife of the men who aren't paying attention to their wife, maybe get their attention and be like, you better pay attention to your wife, asshole. Maybe that's the whole part of the plan, and maybe I'm fucking with that plan, and I'll get my karma for that, but I don't believe that. Once again, how does magic work? Well, when you're trying to affect something to come to you, when you're trying to talk to nature, when you're trying to talk and stuff into being and stuff into happening, you are affecting, just like when I consecrated this, just like if you consecrate anything, you were talking to the atoms of this, and you're telling the atoms, your consciousness now, the consciousness that creates this, is now in charge of doing this, protecting me from this. Hence why I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it because I shot him bad energy, and that energy has a tendency to come back to source. That's how everything works. That's, to me, more likely the real version of karma in a very vague way of and putting it in. Everything's a circle. So everything that goes around comes around. So I shot bad energy to him, it has to come back to me. But if I have the knowledge to know that before that comes back to me, I can also affect it once again, well, that's going to stop me maybe from sending him harmful energy anymore in the future. So the energy I shot him, I'm turning into love energy. It might be hard for me to shoot it back at him. Negative energy, it may not, I don't know. But eventually, it's kind of like the way I'm going to try to cure myself from not sending it. But I was still able to send him bad energy in the first place. Now, if there's some being that doesn't allow us to do baneful shit, or if the Wiccans that say, you can't do harm to people in the first place, it's impossible. Well, that's just bullshit, because this guy hasn't been heard from for a few fucking days right now, and it's not because he's dead or anything like that, because that's not true. But it's not like he was in love with my wife or they did anything. He's just not having an easy time right now. Who knows why? Maybe it has nothing to do with me. Maybe it's my fault. Do I feel bad about that? Fuck no. You know why? He shouldn't have talked to my wife. He should have had enough fucking sense to, you know what? Maybe this girl's got a husband. Oh, wait. She knew because she was talking about her husband. Yeah, he took it upon himself to try to hit on my wife anyways. And guess what? He gets what he deserves. Simple as that. Now, do I deserve karma if I actually harm this guy? Probably. And I'll probably get it. But it is what it is. Maybe that'll teach me to never do this shit again. But maybe to learn to not curse people, I have to first send out a curse. Maybe to never have a bad world war. Maybe World War I was bad, but it wasn't bad enough to stop people from having war. So then we had to have a World War II. And that stopped us from ever having the worst war that ever happened. Because I don't think anything worse has ever happened since World War II. But, it is what it is. But anyways, so when you consecrate something, it's very similar to creating a thought form. Although when you consecrate an item, you're taking an item that's already been created. This thing's already been created by somebody. And you are affecting the atoms. Whereas when you make a thought form, you're creating something. You are creating it at the atom level, basically. You are saying, I'm creating a being, and this is this being's fucking job. And this is its secondary job. And I can kill this being off whenever it's done its job. I can retire it in case I need it again. Whatever. You implement and you create all its programming, kind of like us. We are created and we are programmed to go to work and all that. But if our programming isn't strong enough, if the TV doesn't do it, and if people start creating self-help stuff on the internet and teaching you that maybe this isn't the only way to be, well, we start breaking from our programming and we can evolve. I think we are very much like thought forms in that sense. But I don't want my thought forms to do that. I am to take responsibility for my thought forms and I make sure I get rid of them, just like any thought forms I created in the past, I've rid myself with. I also made sure that fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. I just heard my wife said not yelling, so I'm going to have to go out there and deal with these kids. But what was I going to say? Fuck now. Oh, no, that wasn't it. But yeah, so I made sure I got rid of all my previous thought forms. Doing a lesser banishing of the pentagram is a good way to, a lesser banishing of the hexagram to reduce karma that you have. See, I haven't been creating karma because I haven't been cursing myself or other people. And that's the point of doing these grades, following this system, is you stop creating karma, which is just your own circuit of bullshit. You saying bad things and the bad things happening to you because there's power in your words. Well, now I just created a little bit. But because of what I know, I think I'm able to stop it from turning into karma. And I'll let everybody know how that works. If things start going to shit, well, then I know why. But maybe someone cursed me. And then this is what happened to me. And then now I'm sending the curse back out there to someone else. And for every person I curse, the person who cursed me initially gets it worse. I don't know. Or they get the energy back. Maybe this motherfucker cursed me because he wanted my wife. I don't know. But now he's getting it twice as hard because he didn't know who he's fucking with. The point is, don't believe in karma. Study it. Come up with your own fucking belief. Think what you want about it. But it's more like a circuit. You create your own bad, shitty karma by affecting people, and then when you affect them, they affect other people. Therefore, when the charge comes back to you, it's coming back after affecting all these people and coming back to source, which is you. You're the source of it. You created it. Well, that's why I created a thought form instead of just sending bad energy to them. Because bad energy is a lot harder to just control than a specific thought form with a specific purpose with kill codes and all that. So I sent him that instead. Now, back to the beginning, after we found out about this, one of the first things I did was I made a candle stating that my love for my wife has tripled, quadrupled, and a whole bunch of other words that I never knew existed for like 5 and 6 and 7 times, basically, so that our love is more powerful than ever. I also made a candle saying that I am creating more happiness within my wife than ever, and the more she's happy, the more I'm happy, and that for the time being, I forget the amount of time, something like a month, that my sole focus is going to be on my wife's happiness, which is another reason why I probably haven't creating stuff. She's not a big fan when I'm creating stuff, and I'm ignoring her. I'm going and doing things. So all these things have been completely playing out every single time, and she's been happier than ever. So everything seems to be working out great. Once again, back to the Hermetic principles. Everything waxes and wanes. Everything has its up and down, its dark and its light sequences and times, and moon phases. Basically, it's within everything. That's the rhythm. The rhythm is like the frequency of which things happen. Almost to a certain extent, that could be more like vibration. But point is, you gotta experience some low tragedy times to experience some great happiness, abundant times. It has to go back and forth. That's the polarity of life. And if you think about it, how do you curse somebody? Well, you got to use the same polarity. So all the hate I felt for this guy, I used that same energy to energize my thought forms, to energize the thoughts that I didn't really mean to send him, but I couldn't help myself because I was so angry at him. And instead of going around trying to find him, trying to locate him, because I know so many guys that work where he works, and this is how I know he hasn't been to work, and something's been going on because, anyways, I won't get into it, but I could find out where he lives, and I could even have someone send him a message for me, and I haven't done that. But the reason why I've been wearing stuff like this is because I'm pretty sure he knows what I look like. So if he catches me wearing shades, a bandana, whatever else, then he might not think I'm him. He might walk by, and then I might just kill him with my bare hands. Who fucking knows? But point is, instead of dwelling on it and having all this anger inside of me pent up, continuously thinking about like what if, I took all that negative energy I felt for this man and I sent it back to him. So technically he started it. He tried to get my wife to fuck him, sleep with him, leave me. That sent me some negative energy because I found out about it. And when I found out about it, I took all the energy that he started and sent towards me, who made me feel like that insecure little bitch. I took all that and I sent it back to him, and I fueled the thought form to fuck with him. I protected his kids so they wouldn't get hurt, but nonetheless, had he not started it, I would never feel the need to do this in the first fucking place. And you can say, well, Corey, you're gonna have bad karma for this, but like, well, am I? Or am I just his bad karma coming back to bite him in the ass? He never would have done this. I never would have done this in the first place. I have no need to harm, hurt, or curse anybody. My practice is solely about my transformation. But if people start trying to fuck my wife, trying to take my wife from me, well, I am going to protect my own. Therefore, I'm going to fucking collapse and bring to their fucking knees any motherfucker who gets between me and my wife. Tries to stop my wife from being happy and tries to fuck with her head. Just tries to fuck her and then never talk to her again. And then I find out and then our marriage is ruined. Fuck that shit. That ain't gonna fucking happen. So you can say that I'm creating karma by doing this, but I don't believe that. I believe he created his own karma by fucking with a magician's wife. And it's this magician's fucking job to fucking teach him a lesson so he never does that. And I'm telling you right now, after my thought form is done, the thing I said, what I programmed after, via that transformation schedule and all this, was once he learned the lesson to never fuck with a married man's wife again, for him to find a girl that he can raise that kid with, have more kids, whatever his desires are. I gave him happiness, but only after he goes through his own little hell. And this is probably not my place to do that, but it's my way of teaching a lesson and trying to bring the world into a better place. And I'm not really going to explain how I did that because I don't want none of this to manifest, but I'm pretty sure that it started already manifesting, and I got enough protections up for my thought forms to not be fucking canceled out by too many people's minds getting involved. Being that I only got like 35 subscribers, which I love all of you guys and everybody else watching. Thank you, I appreciate it. And I hope this doesn't make you lose me as a person to watch, but I am trying to leave the world in a better place, and that's why I am giving him loving energy to find his bliss, happiness, and whoever else once my thing is done attacking him. But anyways, I gotta go deal with this shit. I'll be back on unless this is enough, and if it is, I hope you enjoyed. Have a great fucking day. Alright, so I guess I am done with the video. The main overall thing I want to state is, I actually make a second thought form to, I wouldn't really think about this. Like I said, I would get my thought form, and secondary programming is to stop any of the painful, harmful energy I sent to him unknowingly when I first found out about this, right? And if that made it to him, to stop it, and before it comes back to me, to transform it. Same as my thought form, my thought form can't come back to me. It's programmed to do a specific job. That's why instead of sending curses, if you program a thought form to do something you want a curse to do, then you have complete control over that thought form. That's the difference between maybe a beginner trying to curse people and someone who actually is able to sit down and think about it. So when it first happened, I wasn't able to sit down and think about it and process and say, okay, well, I'm depolarized enough to not just start bad thinking. I couldn't do that. I was thinking about my wife and how much I love her and, how much I would fucking kill this guy if I ever seen him. So even though she didn't really do much wrong, like, I can't overstate that enough. And maybe I'm trying to reaffirm that in my head because, messaging a guy is still wrong. But, he initiated it, wanted to add her as a friend. She never even added him onto Facebook. He kept messaging her via through there, and out of like the 7 days, she only acquiesced, answered, whatever you want to call it, 3 times. And it was only the one time where, because she was so upset with me, and she even showed me after, and then she sent them a message saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I don't know who you really were, and I gotta fucking work on my relationship with my husband, because she didn't say that I'm a real man, but that's implied. But nonetheless, I might actually make a second thought form just to make sure that none of that harmful energy goes to anybody else. Hence why his pictures of his kids have Raphael or Mikhail's sigil to protect them, and I stated it very clearly that they are not to be harmed by anything I sent at him, either directly or mistakenly or accidentally and all that. So, but I just want to say that if you're doing magic and you're trying to affect the world out there to bring stuff to you, well, you can be creating karma by doing that as well. You might be taking money from someone else who are lined up to get it via traditional ways, and then you got it, and then they have to do it some other way. That's why this whole hatred for the Illuminati, it's like, well, they're just people using magic to get what they want. If you use magic to get what you want, then you even the fucking scales. So I wouldn't so much believe in karma if you're actively trying to change your life using magic, because I'm not telling you to go out there and send curses to people and hex everybody that fucks you over, because that's not right. But there are times where, I'll play a video by Birch after this, but if it's gonna sit inside you and fuck up your relationship with your wife, fuck up your relationship with your kids, because you have all this anger inside of you and you have no way to get rid of it, so you're holding on to it. So I talked to a psychiatrist, I talked to a counselor, I needed to, I wanted to. I said, babe, marriage counseling, let's fucking finally really do it for real, the whole shebang this time. And we're waiting to hear from that, and in the meantime everything's gotten great, and it's not one of those things I just say every time I want to work on something, even though I always do, but that's not the reason. But point is, I am talking to somebody, and sometimes that's enough. You can talk it out with somebody and get rid of these emotions and all these thoughts that you're feeling. But there's other times where you just kind of have to send something out there. Sorry, I know it gets all fucked up when I do that. Sometimes you just gotta send something out there to remove that shit from inside you. And that means I have to get the karma later if I didn't do everything in my power if I didn't overthink it enough to transform that bad energy into good energy when it comes back, which I think I have. And I'm gonna do another thought form to just monitor all incoming energies that are coming to me, my house. His job is just gonna be sit around me and do whatever. So that's me overthinking it and having another fucking thing of protection up besides the words in my pockets, besides the fucking bandana that's on my head right now. Why is it wrapped around my head? 1, for disguise. 2, to protect my thoughts, so that these bad harmful thoughts don't come back into my head. That's why it's wrapped around here. It's protecting my dome, baby. And even when it's around my mouth, when I'm using it, it's still technically around my head. So just a way to overthink and overanalyze things. But point is, if you are going to hex, if you are going to curse, I really do advise overthinking it, because at the end of the day, this is why you're supposed to do tarot and divination as well. Mom's pissed that you didn't clean your room before you left, but I took the Xbox out of there, so if you're planning on playing it, think again. Yeah, because when you're doing tarot and divination, sometimes, before you curse somebody, you want to take a couple days and think about it. And all the maleficent and harmful energy I sent to him was right off the hop. And then it wasn't until the Friday, right before we left in the morning, that, well, actually, it was the night before. In the morning, I just kind of finalized. Anyways, kind of pointless to, I don't want to say every aspect of it, but after doing tarot, then I was told, to explore my dark side. And you can infer, like I inferred, that because I'm in this state of mind that wasn't depolarized, that no matter what cards came up, it could have been the nicest message saying basically not to hex them, that my state of mind was gonna tell me to hex the motherfucker anyways. And that's good. Maybe you should get someone else to do the cards, but nonetheless, I feel like $1 million and my fucking relationship is great. Does that mean down the road it might get worse? I don't know. It's very possible, but only time will tell. And of course, I will keep you guys in the loop. So I hope you enjoyed this cursing, why, and kind of how, because like I said, I didn't use graveyard dirt. I did use sympathetic magic, as in picture, signature, and his name. But I didn't necessarily use anything like graveyard dirt or any of those things where you piss and shit and put them in a little box and put it in the ground like a coffin and hope it happens to them. I didn't do anything like that because I wanted to use a thought form, and the thought for pictures, like I said, were just so the thought form knew the target and the signature and all that. So it's just, so the thought form knew where to go and find mailing address via signature and picture. Anyways, I don't need to get into all that. If anybody wants to know that, send me a message. I'll tell you exactly how to do it or what book I learned it from. But hope you enjoyed. Have a great fucking day. Hex and curse away, but think about it before you do it. Don't just do it willy-nilly thinking it's a good idea. Really think about the consequences and make sure you'd be okay with the person dying if you're actually going to do a curse or hex the traditional way, like spell work, like sympathetic magic, like hoodoo and voodoo. Like really think about it. Otherwise, make a thought form so you program exactly what you want to happen. Okay? I'm telling you right now, when I did it, I don't think I have any more of the mess, but anyways, I used to have blinds up here, pink blinds, and that little pot there that's got shit in it right now. Okay, this is one of my cauldrons I use. And after I did the ritual, after I did the spell, this thing fell. Okay, you see where it is? It's right here, right? It would fall down here, but somehow I didn't even see how, but it went from that spot and it fell across here, across that, onto the floor here, and the fire spread and hit both. So I wasn't blinds, it was curtains, and they both caught on fire, and I had fire all over the fucking floor. My wife didn't even wake up. This is after the time she had 4 orgasms. She never even woke up because she was comatose, thank God, thank gods, but everything caught on fire. And I think it was Freighter, Birch too maybe, but they said when you do baneful, things are more likely to go awry. Or even if you're doing an uncrossing, trying to get rid of baneful spirits or whatever, things will go awry. You really got to watch your candles. I think he says for the uncrossing to put salt around it because that'll stop anything from fucking saying, no, fuck this, I don't want to go away. You know what I mean? And fuck up your candle and shit. Well, after doing that, it fucking fell on the floor and caught fire in my house. So I got a taste of the bad energy, that I was sending out there. And that's kind of what they mean by that. So be very careful when you do this shit. Don't just do a black candle and leave your house and leave the black candle unattended to catch your curtains on fire like I did. Well, it was a cauldron, but I was burning all the old wax left over from the candle, and I wanted it done fast, so I fucking sped it up, and then I was using sage for something at night because they say not to use sage at night. And so I was using it for something specific, to do something specific and see, and that's one of the things that happened. Like the sage fucking flew, caught something on the carpet too at the same time as that fell, like it was bad. But it told me that I just had an effect, so it's awesome at the same time. Anyways, have a great day. If you want to, subscribe. If you want to, fucking like. I don't give a shit, but be cool if you did, and it's cool if you don't. Have a good fucking day.
Well, howdy, kids. Time for Uncle Birch to piss some people off. But I made a long career of pissing off the right people for the right reasons. And some things should be debated, some things should be discussed, many things should not be assumed. Like, for instance, I am not Wiccan, I'm a witch. it's extremely hard to tear the witchcraft out of Wicca in this day and age. We had 30, 40 years of Wicca being the dominant force. But now there are many forces recognized out there that are not Wiccan, and Wiccan is not the only party. And I always kind of took issue with the Wiccan Reed. There was one time we had to deal with Wicca. I have been Wiccan, but always been a witch. But I do have a religious side that probably leans more towards gods and goddesses, and then I have a spiritual side leaning more towards spirits and ancestors, that kind of thing. I try to encompass many things in my work. And as I've said, recently somebody was trying to give me a hard time on my channel. I don't know who he thought he would deal with, but told me that I profess to be right-hand path. Now, clearly, young man, I believe it was a young man, you don't pay attention. I've made it absolutely clear on my channel, I use both hands. Right hand, left hand. There's a time to be right-hand path. There's a time to be left-hand path. And better yet, stagger down the middle, swerving in and out of all of them. That's the only way to really be complete. Either one of you is wrong. If you are left-hand path, you're missing something. If you are right-hand path, you're missing something. The right-hand path and the left-hand path philosophies of the craft have merged over time, and a lot of you missed it. The left-hand path originally believed that God, if they believed in God at all, was an internal force that lived inside of us, that was a part of us. Left-hand path believed that God was outside of us. God, goddess, all it is, outside of us. Some lofty thing up on a cloud, yay high. And so the left-hand path believed that serving the self was serving that God, or if they believed in God, but serving the self was the way to go. Right-hand path believed that since God was external, serving others, serving external things, was the path to go. Either one of those is just wrong. Either one of those, you're either going to be a selfish asshole, or you're going to be a broke-ass motherfucker living on the streets with nothing for yourself. Many, 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 many times I heard in old Wicca people say, it's against the rules to do magic for yourself. Why do it then? Do I just want to sit around all day having people bleed all over me and tell me their sob stories and fix them for people? I'm not saying, I don't like my work, but if that was all I did with my craft, I'd be angry and bitter. Broke, and on the streets. So, again, I use both hands. It takes both hands to make this cool little triangle thing that I use so often. So, like the title of the video, the thing that's going to piss people off, vengeance, sometimes healthy. Now maybe it's because I'm part Italian, got a healthy sense of vengeance. It is an Italian proverb and not a Klingon proverb that revenge is a dish best served cold. That means a lot, and it doesn't just mean without feeling. It also means to let time pass before getting your vengeance, to where the person you're getting your vengeance on doesn't even remember that they fucked you over. That's part, and I'm part Irish. I'm really a mutt. I have so many. I think Asian is the only thing not in my DNA. I find my DNA is from so many different countries, and even a bit of African too. But that's a whole other story. So maybe it's my bloodline. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a realist. I don't know. But I always kind of debated with the Wiccans about their whole Wiccan Reed thing, about harming none. And I would, rather than, say the same thing that everybody else says, I would debate specifics in there. And, I found that while they were harming none, they didn't think too much about protecting others. That's not very right-hand path, is it? And then the harming of the self seems to be permissible in that philosophy. In other words, harm none, do what you will, kind of means turn the other cheek. And then you have two cheeks that are slapped. And somehow, you think you're a better person because you let somebody slap you twice? Not in my world, man. No, that ain't gonna happen. So, Those of you that have been on my channel probably have come to know that Uncle Birch will come out and say things that are not oft said. I spend most of my time saying things that are not oft said. I don't have a whole lot of patience for repeating the status quo, repeating the party line, saying shit that somebody else has already said. So I challenge you to find another video of this kind that says vengeance is sometimes healthy. And here's why. Thinking about that not harming the self thing. There are some times a person just fucks you over. Fucks you over, fucks up your life, maybe endangers you, endangers your family, endangers your loved ones. And you're just supposed to let that go, I guess, if you're wicked. And there's sometimes somebody will violate you or rob you, take something from you. Now, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's how I am. Those things stick in my craw. Those things never go away. I was a spooky little kid in high school. I got fucked with all the time. Eventually, I was spooky enough to where most of the kids in my high school were too scared to fuck with me. That backfired later in high school, but that's a whole other story. But I remember everyone that ever picked on me, everyone that ever hit me, everyone that ever fucked me over. I remember all the bullies in my life. They're a part of me right here. And if I think about one of those people, it's nasty. It hurts. It angers me. Anger is not healthy. Holding these things in and stifling them, that's not healthy. You get a tumor doing that kind of shit. There's some people out there also that fucked you over that if allowed to continue their evil ways will fuck others over. So it can be kind of right-hand path to do those kind of people in. But I don't care which path it is. That's unhealthy. For you to just take that shit, feel like that, and maybe you're not like me. Maybe you can let that shit go. I have oft heard said by some people about myself that I hold grudges. I don't really think that's true. That doesn't cover it all. I don't really hold grudges because I get even. I know myself. I've been on this earth a long time, and I know that that person that just fucked me over, that person just robbed me, that person just violated me, I'm going to feel that for years and years and maybe the rest of my life. It'd be far less damage to fuck them over once than to feel that for the rest of my life. I always tell this tale. A long, long time ago, in a land far, far away, I was doing security work. I was a bouncer at a heavy metal bar in Downey called Mississippi Moonshine, which was. And we bounced the parking lot, and then they had other bouncers upstairs. And so these muscle boys, steroid boys, got in a fight with a couple off-duty Marines, I guess. They all got bounced downstairs. The Marines went that way. Man, the muscle boy is standing there talking shit. And I'm standing next to my sergeant. I'm a little guy. I don't know how. Well, I'll show you in a minute why I was a bouncer, because I'm crafty. So these boys talked all kinds of shit to my sergeant, who was standing right next to security work, right? And talked about his mother, his questionable parentage, his questionable sexual persuasion, on and on and on. I'm just getting pissed. These guys haven't even said it to me. And just that I'm standing here letting these assholes verbally abuse a friend of mine, it's getting to me. I already have my mace. This is before pepper spray, by the way. I already have my mace in my hand, just down on my side. I'm just casually standing there. These guys talk all this shit. They're about to walk away. I'm thinking, God, I'm going to hate these two guys forever. That's not healthy. I don't need to hate these. They're stupid fucking drug boys, right? So, right as he's starting to leave, the guy says, and you, pointing to me, you little shit, better get your mama to feed you some steak. Fatten your ass up. And I look at him and go, Me? Oh, you haven't even started talking shit to me yet. I'm right here. I ain't going nowhere, motherfucker. Step up. I don't often play the Macho Boy game, but I know how to play it. I know the rules. I haven't been in a whole lot of fights in my life. I've wrestled a lot of motherfuckers to the ground. I've unarmed a lot of people, disarmed a lot of people. Never, didn't spend a whole lot of time in slugging matches. So at any rate, guy walks up to me, hardest I've ever been hit in my life, punches me with both fists in the chest. My chest folds around his fists. I almost collapsed. I took one step back and put the mark of Zorro across his face with my pepper spray. And he goes, "Hey, what the fuck? What the He's on his knees, crying, sobbing, and his muscle-bound buddy steps up. "Hey, what the fuck was that?" And I go, "Oh, this." Gave him the mark of Zorro across the face, too. The sight of these two muscle-bound dickhead motherfuckers, arm in arm, crying as they try to find their car, walking up, "Oh, I can't believe you did it," fills my heart with joy to this day. I think of just that little piece that would be stuck in my craw for the rest of my life. That God, I should have hit that fucker. God, I should have fucking knocked his ass out. Maybe you're not that way. I'm that way. It was much healthier to momentarily cause these two boys a huge amount of pain than to suffer the years and years and years of pain that would go along with that. So that's pretty much my rant on that. If you're that kind of person, do you feel that? Can you think about somebody that fucked you over in your life? Do you still feel the pain from that? Maybe you should hex them. You know? You never got any justice for it? We're witches. We don't have to deal with that. We don't have to have mace. We have spiritual mace. We have the mace of the universe. Um, so if you're sitting with one of those things, maybe it's time for that. Yeah, and justice. Justice is cool too. Maybe you need a little justice work. Sometimes I'll shoot for justice too. If I can't get justice, man, I'm gonna get vengeance. I'm gonna get even. I'm gonna get threefold. So that's my threefold law. You fuck with me, I fuck with you 3 times. You hit me, I hit you 3 times. That's the real threefold law. So, if you're that kind of person, maybe you want to biv over to my website. Pick up a few things. Maybe some dark some dark arts oil or Lucky Mojo oil. I carry some Lucky Mojo products on my website. Graveyard dirt. I got great graveyard dirt. We harvest it every Samhain. And now I'm living in a totally different land with really old graveyards. So getting some really cool graveyard dirt this time of year. Some graveyard dirt. Maybe mix the graveyard dirt with some sulfur. Get an image of the person. Bury him in a little box with graveyard dirt. Piss on the grave. That kind of thing. Maybe hot foot powder. Hot foot powder might not kill him. You give him a really hard time. Plenty of spells you can do. Maybe you want to stock up on some black candles. There's lots of things on my website. And probably a lot of descriptions. And definitely, when you get on the Lucky Mojo products, you can go to the internet and search all kinds of stuff on those recipes because they're classical recipes. But a lot of mine are classical recipes too. A lot of the oils I make have been made for hundreds and hundreds of years by practitioners of witchcraft, hoodoo, conjure. I just so you know, I am studying hoodoo. I am taking a hoodoo course, and I am always fascinated by the connections, the similarities, the crossovers. We're like in this melting pot here, and a lot of crafts just kind of mesh together and become one craft. Well, these days we've got a lot more research. We've got a lot more access to research. We can see where a lot of magics came from, and I love that. I love finding a thing and tracing that thing back to its origins. And I think that's a witch thing. We need to follow these patterns, and that's a pattern I love to see. I always love to see a moment when a thing happens, and then a moment later in time how that thing turned out. And I love that with magic. And having said that, I think I've said this in another video. Wicca is not the only party anymore, and it's fading. There's more people identifying themselves as witches than Wiccans these days. There's much, a huge separation going on between those, and many witches that don't want to call themselves Wiccans, and many Wiccans that don't even do witchcraft at all, which I don't even know why you would take on that title if you don't get to do magic. But nowadays, man, there's all kind of shit, all kind of stuff came to the party, and hoodoo's a big one out there. Hoodoo has been on the rise for a while. Hoodoo and conjure, and guess what? No Wiccan read, nothing like that. A healthy sense of ethics, but no rules against doing anything to anyone. So, if you think your little Wiccan read's going to keep you safe, Uncle Bert's here to tell you, nah, you got another thing coming. So, remember that. Get yours. Get your vengeance. Don't get mad. Mad is unhealthy. Get even. Vengeance can be healthy.